welcome back to God of War 3. This is probably the deadest part of the game because it's mostly just go into one room, either solve a puzzle or just fight some things, then just move to the next square room.
Yeah, it's just a gauntlet of mini challenges.
Yeah, which is fine, but also kind of not super engaging.
Well, it's kind of God of War in a way is kind of this God of War specifically is kind of segmented into like two halves. There's the action half and there's the puzzle half, because we don't have much game left. Like maybe about an hour and a half or so.
I mean,
About that.
just coming from somebody who hasn't played the game and has only watched it, this doesn't seem that different from like God of War 1 or 2 to me, because there were plenty of points in those games where, you fought some dudes, you went to a room, you did some puzzle stuff, you left, you fought more dudes, lather, rinse, repeat.
It's mostly that it wasn't so transparently blocky about it, I guess.
I guess that makes sense, where like this definitely... The location doesn't feel as natural, I guess, is a good way to put it. Like, there's not as much effort put into making this feel like a organic place. It's just, you're right, it is like blocky wooden rooms the entire time versus, where the people hated the temple in the first game, but it looked and felt like a temple, for the most part.
It blended in better organically with its environment. True. But there's still the matter of like how well is this place designed.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell you if this puzzle was more or less fun to solve than the puzzles in the older God of War games, but it definitely looks.
I just like
more
this.
like a
This
puzzle
place is
game.
just here for me. Like I don't hate it. I don't love it either.
No, it's
Like it's just another part of the game.
It's not strictly padding, but it's there just to make the game be more of a game at this point. If that makes sense.
How would you say that God of War 2018 did on, compared to this game, did on spacing out the time between fights with enjoyable stuff to do?
I mean, that's always going to be a little bit subjective,
Yeah.
depending on what it is they have you do. Because if you're not, I don't like puzzles, so a room full of puzzles probably won't be super enjoyable to you. But God of War 2018 is pretty good about that, mostly because there's a good chunk of exploration compared to just generalized platforming. And even though the room changed, I technically touched the spikes, so I died.
Yeah, I mean the spikes are still spikes.
God of War 2018 has a lot of kind of exploration, and there's still stuff to do because you do always have like side quests if you go out of your way to look for things a little bit.
Okay.
Then I just feel God of War 2018 is a little bit better with the puzzles you have to actually do compared to classic God of Wars.
Is that game as linear as these games are, where when you leave an area you can't go back to it?
To an extent, there will be at some point where you can't exactly go everywhere, but you will always be able to return to the big areas you were at before.
Okay.
Progression in these games were always story driven,
Yeah.
but I feel like more so in 2018, that's more of the case.
Yeah, so...
But you go here at this point because the story needs you to be here. So,
But you can go back if you want to in case you miss like a side quest or...
and God knows there are a lot of shit to do in that game.
Yeah, so... In that way, there's a lot more to do between the fights just because you have options. Compared to this game or God of War 2, where there's nothing to really do besides just progress.
I just my biggest gripe, and this is speaking as someone who still has not fully played 2018 God of War. I just don't feel like playing it right now. I'm not really a big fan of the skill tree in video games. Like the only game I sort of tolerated was the Batman games in some way, only because those skill trees weren't really gargantuan in the first place. But I don't know. I just there's just something so mundane and vanilla about a skill tree.
It's definitely been overused. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the go-to thing in video
To have a
games.
progression system where you don't have to randomly give them a new power-up or something.
It also allows the people to choose what they want to upgrade, which, I mean, it's weird to say that giving players less choice is a good thing, because I feel like that would go against a lot of what a lot of people believe about video games, but I feel like it leads into some bad habits that a lot of gamers have. For example, always using the one move or the one skill because, oh, this is the best move and skill. I use it all the time because it kills
the
all the
best one.
stuff. And you don't ever use any of the other stuff that the game gives you. It makes a lot of the options feel kind of meh when if you do a skill tree and you only focus on the one, super awesome laser sword spin skill because you put all of your points into that and suddenly now that's the only thing that can keep up with any of the other points in the game, but now you're too far invested into that one skill in order to, do anything else. That's why I really like games where you have the option to reset your skill tree and start
Oh,
over.
Final Fantasy VII does that.
Dragon Quest XI does that too, where at any point, well, any save point at least, you can reset your skill points and put them into something else.
Here's the note. Seven's, I wouldn't say is a skill tree in its foundation because it's not like you can. 'Cause it's not like you can only unlock attack plus 8 after getting attack plus 4. Because I think
it's similar.
I think
it's
the
similar
other
enough that I think the comparison is apt.
right. But the thing is that the other abilities unlocking in that game are tied to your level, not necessarily what abilities you unlock beforehand.
Yeah. But just comparing it to Ted's thing where you could reset your skill tree or whatever.
Yeah, I do agree that if you're gonna do that, give us the option for that.
Yeah.
The other, we got onto this on Twitter with Lewis a little bit a few days ago, but just kind of having to point out that player choice is very much a double-edged sword from a design standpoint. In a lot of regards.
Yeah, so for looking at the Final Fantasy VII skill tree, it's like a big spacey orb kind thing, and
Yeah.
you branch out to different. Yeah, that's almost exactly the Dragon Quest XI skill grid.
Missed opportunity. If you were going to reset your skill points, it should have been indicated with a little supernova animation that just collides through all those little solar system
Yeah,
planets.
no meteor.
Yeah, just a giant meteor that's
John,
destroys
people don't want to have to wait a half an hour to reset all their skill points.
they made that choice.
But anyway, yeah, no, player choice is a double-edged sword because again, like what I was telling you, if you let you can easily get too invested in something, and if it turns out you don't like that gameplay style, you've got to basically just start all over or deal with being weaker or grinding. If you want to change.
Or playing in a way that you're not familiar with.
If you're doing that on a replay, then you're choosing to play it in a way you're not familiar with because it's different. But
On the one hand, that does enhance replayability. But on the other hand, if something's just clearly better, whether intentionally or not, that kind of ruins a lot of that player choice aspect.
it is also, hard to balance that kind of thing because, the Mega Man games are a good example. There are very few games in Mega Man that I can think of where you really can play the bosses, or at least start in any order. And, one of the ones that people think is the best, Mega Man X, there really is only one correct choice to start with, and that's Chill Penguin, because otherwise you're not playing with the dash, which is
But that's not. But is that necessarily? Tied? Is that necessarily? You were talking about because of the bosses, but that's only because it's something you find inside the stage, so not the boss itself.
Well, it's still the same thing, though.
It's still the correct choice to make for first.
Yeah,
Right.
What reason would there be to play Mega Man X and not pick Chill Penguin first? Because I feel like
You have to intentionally be doing a challenge run to do that.
Yeah.
Or it's just your first time in
or you just didn't. Yeah. Oh yeah. Or you don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah, but imagine the kid who got Mega Man X because their best friend was like, "You have to play this game; it's amazing." And then they get to Chill Penguin last, and they're really frustrated because the game isn't nearly as fun when you don't have that dash. Because
To a degree, because I feel that again, I'm saying this as someone who always gets a dash first. every stage in Mega Man X is still designed with that classic mentality. It's the only game in the X series that still kind of tries to bridge the classic game in the X game because it was the first one.
Oh no, the game.
To
I'm sure
an
the game
extent.
is playable without the dash. That
From what
doesn't
I
make it
from what I
fun,
remember,
though.
from what I remember, the dash is only required to get optional power-ups. It is not ever needed to beat a stage.
No.
Yes, but at the same time, certain levels like, say, Spark Mandrill, where it's much more horizontal, the dash makes it a lot more fun.
Not to mention, it's really helpful in beating certain bosses. So, especially when you don't know the patterns, it would be a lot more frustrating to fight a lot of those bosses without the dash. Like, because I'm thinking, who's his face? Storm Eagle. Like, he's got his wind blowy move that
Right.
that will push you off the ledge. I think if you don't dash at all,
No, you can jump over
you
it.
can jump over it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just
Are you talking about just the wing blow?
The wind
The-
blowing.
It's like the wing blowing. Yeah, I mean, if you're not holding right as soon as he does, and if you're not really close, you're likely not going to make it.
yeah. So it's just again, like I think that, and this doesn't just go for Mega Man X. Like for a lot of people would, for Mega Man 2, for example, if you picked Heat Man first, God bless you.
to be a smidge fair to Mega Man 2, I think you could do everything but Heat Man first if you really wanted to.
Oh, I personally don't do
What
Mega. I
what
don't-
difficulty?
I
mean, that's also a
personally
caveat, isn't
don't
it?
do Metal Man first because I find playing through 90% of the game with the Metal Blades to be not that fun. So I do Woodman first, and that goes fine most of the time when
I also
play.
think it depends if you're playing it on the original Japanese difficulty. Or the
Oh no, I
American.
play on Wimpy difficulty because I'm a wuss.
You're playing on American difficulty. Ted.
Yeah, I'm playing on Weak Boy difficulty.
Just put it that way to soften the blow, I guess. Go USA. Okay, show off.
What, me?
Could have waited a bit.
Nah.
No, I gotta make that gate as soon as that thing falls
To
down.
be fair, she is drowning.
Yeah, but why would Kratos care if she's drowning?
See, I had to go fast.
You have failed.
Mission failed.
Well, because Kratos sees her daughter in this girl.
Also, he kind of needs her alive to throw her into the flame.
That too.
Okay. She can't die. I have to kill her
Yes, basically.
Oh.
She can't die. I'd eat her.
to die.
I mean, yes.
But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Oh my god. There have been so many especially with the way the world is right now. There's been so many clips of that postings of that clip from Shrek where Farquaad's like, "Some of you may die.
May die.
But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make." And it's like, "Oh god."
No, my favorite is The Simpsons with the placebo and the killer bees.
They
Oh.
printed fucking everything. I know. There's a
What's the
maybe
placebo?
there's
Where can we get them? Maybe there's some in this truck.
the killer hornets.
Maybe we should stop them from predicting everything
Well,
because
the thing is, the predictions come from like the good seasons.
Yeah, that was like 20 plus years ago.
yeah, but I'm just saying that if they didn't make those seasons, they wouldn't have created the future where those seasons
Well, we can't.
would
We
happen.
can't go back in time and stop them now, can we?
Can we?
I don't want to ruin The Simpsons.
All right, John. You live either in a world where there's no Simpsons or a world where there's no pandemic. What do you choose?
On a rail.
That is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
That is not what I would expect Pandora to look like in God of War.
I am.
Also, her face
think I
has
might have
kind of
mentioned-
like empty eyes.
That's what I'm saying. I remember
She is
saying
very
this in
fish-eyed.
SGB. Yeah, she's very fish-like. There's a lot of fucking room for rent between those eyes.
It's I'm not sure if a lot of people will agree with me on this. It's the same kind of vacant sort of look I get from the girl from BioShock Infinite, which is a game I haven't played. But there's
Oh, Elizabeth.
yeah, but whenever I see
Yeah.
that girl, I get the same kind of feeling I get from looking at her right now.
I can see it not to this extent though. This extent is pretty fucking egregious.
I mean, Bioshock Infinite
helps.
was also a good 4 or 5 years after this, though. So
Also helps
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Bioshock Infinite is going for a slightly more stylistic look.
that is also true. Is that game good, by the way? Because I've heard so many
is.
weird,
It's-
conflicting things about
I
it.
love it. Like I still think it's a great game. I haven't played it in a while, to be fair, but I when I played it, I was in love with it. I thought it was a good game.
I still think 1 is the best Foundation game,
Yeah,
but Infinite is a damn fine individual.
but Infinite is so different.
Yeah.
Like compared to the first two, and I think that is what has it going for it and against it too.
It's not underwater; it's above water this time.
Yeah, but you go to Rapture like late in the game
For some
as an
reason.
Easter egg.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah,
Because the game said
yeah, I
so.
think it's just a callback. Yeah.
Okay.
Then you got to give an origin for the bird.
But isn't Bioshock about not listening to the man?
Ha! Should we spoil a game that's over 10 years old at this point?
No, I know this. I know
It's-
the twist to the. I know the twist to Bioshock. I love that it's a gigantic middle finger to Ayn Rand because she sucks. Like,
Also, it's a giant fuck you to the, you think you actually have choice in this matter as a player thing.
yeah, no, like, as somebody who's had to read Ayn Rand for
Oh, she is terrible.
for English classes and whatnot, it's some of the most miserable writing I've ever had to read in my life.
What did Aaron write again?
Atlas Shrugged.
Okay,
Her basic philosophy is fuck you, I got mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's Atlas Shrugged. It's. I mean, yes, I disagree with her politics and philosophy, but also she's just a bad writer. Like insufferable, almost to the point of Nathaniel Hawthorne. Not quite as bad as Nathaniel Hawthorne. I'll give you that.
Oh, yeah, she
But
thinks
still
she is.
terrible.
She thinks she is so fucking smart.
Yeah. So it's yeah. So I no, but I know the twist, and to be honest, it is a really cool. It is a really cool twist. This is actually something I remember from when I was in band class in high school. One of my friend would always tell me about the games he was playing because he had like an Xbox and a PlayStation, which I didn't have at the time. I just had Nintendo
Oh,
stuff.
look, I was
So
gonna
he
say, look
told
at Mr.
me
Fancy
all
Pants
about
having both.
yeah. So he told me all about like Dead Rising. He really liked Prince of Persia: Warrior Within. So he told me a lot about that game too, but I only really remember like bits and pieces of it from what he told me. But he also told me about BioShock as he was playing it, and it seemed really interesting at the time. And then I looked it up later, and it's like, oh yeah, this does seem pretty cool. And it's on my to play list.
It's held up surprisingly well.
Well, that. I think that makes sense considering that it's like a 2007, 2008 game. So, you know, there's not as much of the rough around the edges kind of mentality. Like, I mean, I'm sure graphically there's still edges, but the game design, I think we were at a point where we knew how to make first-person shooters by 2008, 7, whenever it was. I don't remember. Time is an illusion. Are we still in this arena fighting dudes?
Yes,
Wow, okay.
because Kratos is angry.
Does Pandora do anything? I think
Nope.
she just did a dodge roll.
Yeah.
Nobody I knew at that time ever really played God of War, though. This wasn't something I had even heard about until I got on to...
Well, what years were you in? Like, was it like high school band or?
Yeah, this was high school. Well, I mean, I knew him all through middle school band, but I started high school in 2008. Wait,
Okay,
2007. 2007.
Okay, so by the time you were group of friends was probably reliably playing games like God of War, they were already like close to 3.
Yeah, so, yeah, I didn't really hear much about God of War until I started getting on the internet.
Yeah, compared to John and I's teenage years where we were teenagers when 1 came out, so.
Wow, you're old. It's just
I was
interesting.
I was about to finish high school when God of War 1 came out.
Yeah.
It's just interesting what games end up being popular in certain circles, though, is also the thing. Because there are games that are, like, extremely popular, like Resident Evil, that nobody in my age group ever really played. But
Classic Resident Evil was in its heyday when you were like just starting grade school.
yeah, that's true. But like, you know, by the time I was like 11 or 12, Resident Evil 4 came out, and despite what the MSRP thinks, 11 and 12-year-olds absolutely were playing Resident Evil 4. So
You're not wrong.
You think that I would have heard more people talking about it. But no, we were all talking about like Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, green, and
If you want to talk dated, back when Pokemon first came out, this was a completely different beast popularity-wise than it was now.
Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think, are at this point the second most best-selling games in the series, which makes me a little bit sad personally.
Yeah.
But
And we can't speak for like school days now because we haven't been in school in so long.
yeah,
So we can't really compare, I feel, but you don't forget what it was like.
Pokemon in '98 was... Pokemon is still popular for sure. It was the thing in 1990.
It was the thing to talk about in those time periods. Like there was no other game to mention or talk about if it was not Pokemon.
it was
maybe
Fortnite
Resident Evil
times
2
2, I would say.
Yes.
times 3.
Times
Yeah,
three.
Because
there was
Fortnite, because Fortnite was a game. Pokemon
a
was
thing.
everything. Like it was the games, it was the anime, it was the card game, it was everything.
I think the only game to get close to, I would say Minecraft probably is the only game to have
Close enough, yes,
to have a
yes.
similar sort of. Because have you seen how much Minecraft stuff they sell to kids? Like if you
Yeah.
go to a Barnes and Noble,
That and Roblox.
oh yeah, but
Like I never played Roblox. I don't no interest in it whatsoever, but it's everywhere.
yeah, but like if you go to a Barnes and Noble or whatever and go to the kids section, there are walls of unofficial Minecraft graphic novels where people effectively do machinima with their Minecraft characters to tell stories in the Minecraft world, where like Steve is some sort of like forgotten legend or some stuff like that. It's wild.
What
There's
they're
so
trying
much.
to make? They're trying to make Steve Doom Guy now?
I don't listen. I don't know. I don't know anything about Minecraft. I've never played it. Well, maybe I played a little bit of it. I've never played it extensively, at the very least.
But you, Steve, you shall be worse. Build and
It's-
craft until it is done.
It's a soft piano right
You
now.
could probably run Doom in Minecraft at this point because people have set up
Doom
little
runs
computers.
Doom. Oh yeah, that was the God of War part. We'll see you all next.
Yes, it was.